going on, everybody? Fearless Cummings here. We today it's a. I'm waiting for Brian to come in. I don't know where he is, but he'll be here, I'm sure, sometime, whatever. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about. Well, first and foremost, let me tell you who I am and all that good stuff. Welcome to Trial and Error. I am your host at this present moment of time, Mr. Fearless T. Cummings, your personal philosopher. Um, Today we're going to be talking about. Oop, I put the crash out of the year. Let me switch up my banner. Today we are talking about the 48 Laws of Power. And the thing that I'm talking about is it actually a thing of power? Hold on one second. Let me switch this thing up before we really jump in there. 48 Laws of Power is a. I don't know, let me format that question. Is the 48. Actually, no. It wouldn't be is, it would be are the 48 laws of power. We'll put that in capital letters. Should we say that are the 48 laws of power realistic? Is that right? Okay. Are they realistic or not? But not in big letters. Sorry about that. Question mark. Boom. So we're gonna have that scroll. I think we should. Hold on. Give me a sec. Are the 48 laws of power realistic or not? All right. So the very first law, or is, I would say, never outshine the master. Before we even jump into that, so who is Robert Greene, and what are the 48 laws of power? Robert Greene is kind of like to me, Robert Greene is a philosopher that talks about different strategies and different systems, personal systems that people use. So what he did was he took all of these different statisticians, such as Sun Tzu from The Art of War, Machiavelli the Prince, and a few other individuals or whatever. And he compiled all of these different things or all of these different principles together, right? In this one book called The 48 Laws of Power. Oddly enough, you will find the book, The 48 Laws of Power, usually in prisons. There's other books you can't find in prison that are actually talking about wellness, awesome shit, right? To be more, to do more, to live more, to give more. You can't find a lot of those books in jail. But the 48 Laws of Power was one of those books that you will find in jail. The problem with that book that I see is that it's based on manipulation. But another problem with that is that the common man thinks, and I'm gonna put this out there, the common man, matter of fact, let me put because I want to make sure that you guys know the book I'm talking about. Hold on, the 48, sorry about that, give me a sec. Okay. The 48 Laws of Power. I just need an image so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, nope, that's not gonna work. Dude, I just need a picture. Isn't that crazy? I mean, I just need a picture. But anyway, okay, here, let me put this up. Let me share my screen. Laws of power. Okay, there we go. So this is the book that we're talking about right now. The 48 Laws of Power. And here's the thing. When I read it, I thought this book was absolutely fascinating. When I was first introduced to it, I'm a big fan of Robert Greene in general. And when I read it, I thought that this was like the best stuff since individually sliced cheese, not government cheese, which is way better than any cheese I've ever had. I'm just gonna put that out there. What's up, Brian?
What's
The
up, man?
the book was absolutely. I thought it was phenomenal. I used to walk around with it, just study the laws, study the laws, study the laws, and it did not dawn on me until later that these laws only work, and they only work when you are directly next to the king or 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 something like the king. So president, mayor, governor, whoever's sitting at the top of that patriarch or monarch, depending on what, right. If you're around that circle, if you're in that frame of things, then the 48 laws of power will work for you. Oh wow, look at that.
We lost you there
I
for a
lost it
second.
for a second. My gestures are all over the place. It will work for you. The 48 laws of power will work for you if you are along or around the vicinity of the king or like that.
Right.
But if you are just a common everyday folk, a person who just gets up, goes to work, does your thing, these 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 laws will not concern you.
Yeah.
They're not going to whatsoever. And Brian, I put in our notes.
Yeah, I'm looking at them. I'm trying to see because I'm not getting
Oh,
them.
sorry. You know what? For some reason, it did not pop up. I took it, but it didn't. I
There's a character limit on this notes feature. I've run into that before where it'll just leave
oh,
a
is
blank.
it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so here, this is what I'll do. I'll put in this. I will put in the first. I'll put in the first 15,
Uh
and then we'll just kind of go from there.
yep. Because I got
Cool.
mine too. I got mine too. I meant to share, but yeah, it, it's been a
There it is.
comedy of it.
Perfect.
It's been a comedy of errors over here, bro.
It happens, man. It happens. Okay, so can you see my?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so Brian has my stuff now, so I'm gonna make my stuff a little bigger now. But anyway, so if you guys are just now tuning in, my name is Fearless. This is my guy Brian. This is trial and error, where we talk about just getting out and trying different things, failing at it as quickly as possible, so you can kind of get from point A to point B as much as possible. And today we are talking about, are the 48 laws of power realistic or not? And
Right.
also the pros and cons of it. Because
Right.
as much as we're going to talk about the cons, there are pros to this. So don't get that twisted. There are pros. Go
Right.
ahead, Brian. What are you thinking, my guy?
Well, and it kind of goes along because it goes into what I was going to say is a lot of times when people read the 48 laws of power, typically those are going to be like, that's the person that's first getting into like self-development, self-improvement stuff. You're going to find dudes like we had kids that in my shelter that had been incarcerated or institutionalized, and that's the first book they reach to and things along those lines. And what happens is they read the 48 laws of power, and since they don't have any other frame of reference or nuance specifically to apply the frameworks in that book, they don't really have that understanding that like you can't implement the 48 laws of power when you are the cheese grater at Olive Garden. Like it's not
Yeah,
it's not going
yeah.
to It's not going to
No,
work out for you.
no, no.
All you're going to do is alienate the people around you, and the people above you are going to, um, they're going to see that there's a wolf in the hen house, right? Like there's a fox in the
Right.
hen house,
Yeah.
and so, um, the way that because it's crazy because I'm sitting there waiting for like everything crashed on my stuff, and somebody tagged me in a post on Facebook, apropos of nothing. Like I hadn't mentioned our live stream to anybody before, um, and it's a brother sitting in the car, and he's like, a lot of dudes that start out with the 48 laws of power, if that's your only framework, or if you read what did he say, 48 laws of power, there was one other book, Art of War and Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you read those, if that's their main book recommendations, you're about to hear the worst opinions ever. And it was a joke, but it's also kind of a real thing. um the 48 laws of power is kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, and I
Hmm.
think a lot of people make it like their personality.
Okay.
They make it a personality type, you know, where they're always positioning and scheming and jockeying for position. And I don't even think the author of the book really intended for the book to be used as this is how you're supposed to live your life, um kind of thing. um So, yeah, I got a lot on this. But the reason why we're doing this is because Fearless and I started talking about this last week, and how people will grab like the Robert Greene books and use that to shape their worldview, not understanding that these are only supposed to give you a fraction of understanding of how power works and things along those
And,
lines.
and that's it. That's all it is.
And there's different types of power. There's hard power. There's soft power. um just like hard skills and soft skills, there's different applications of power and force. um I kind of knew that the franchise might have been cooked when 50 dropped his version of the book.
Which
Like,
I read that too.
yeah, and I knew that it kind of jumped the shark, um just because I think it had crossed over to that mainstream part where it almost becomes a meme of sorts. And so that's why we're
Hmm.
discussing it right now, because for a lot of people that are just getting into reading, we're not saying you're not allowed to read the Robert Greene books. Like, that's not what it
Yeah.
is. And we're not saying that they don't have good information.
Hmm.
Mastery is an amazing book if you want to see how people see the process of how people master specific narrow skills. It's a good book. What we are saying is this can't be your only framework of doing things.
No, I mean, and again, I think that putting this book into context, and that's literally all we do. Matter of fact, that's all trial and error is in general is context,
Hmm.
right? I mean, you can't get from point A to point B unless there's context within it in general,
Right.
right? So this book, all we're doing is we're giving you the pros and cons and the nuances of it. That's it.
Right.
Nothing more. And how to use the book
Right.
because it's very useful with the right context.
Right. But and that's the thing. We're trying to hip y'all to this. When you start playing these Machiavellian kind of games, understand that you're going to get those Machiavellian kind of results. What
Yeah,
that
for
means
sure.
is you are running the risk of alienating people. Matter of fact, um you're running the risk of breaking one of the laws of power. Don't insult the wrong person. Um
Mm.
you start playing
You
these
uh, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
you start playing these games of you start playing these power games when you're not in a power position, and you're going to end up cutting off your nose to spite your face. And so that's what we're talking about, is making sure that the context that you apply to this in your life makes sense for what you're trying to do.
Correct. And you know, here's the thing. I'm gonna put. Now, hold on one sec. I'm gonna put absence. Oh, oh man. Oh yeah, that's some good stuff right there, man. Like these things are absolutely amazing when you sit down and play with them or whatever. But so if we were to take a look at, let me show you another guy who used Robert Greene's, and I don't want to say Robert Greene stuff, but he used the principles and got killed doing it.
Hmm.
Let me show you. Look, your boy right here. You see that?
Yeah.
So one of the principles that, again, Robert Greene talked about is that he took some of the laws from Machiavelli, the book The Prince. So Tupac eventually started calling himself Machiavelli based on that book, right?
Right.
So what I want to do is I want to show you just real quickly, real fast, um, something that I really love. Give me just 1 second. So give me watch this. Give me um let me say 7 Machiavellian uh rules. Okay, hold on. So let me see if it'll pop it up for me. I messed this stuff up so bad. Oh my god. So my point is this. Um my point is, and I want to show you guys this right quick.
Mm-hmm.
Um so here's 7 often Machiavellian rules distilled from the ideas of Machiavelli the Prince, right? And
Right.
again, this is where Tupac got some of his stuff, and this is also where Robert Greene took some of his stuff at too. So power is about perception, not truth. Okay, but we don't. Hold on, let me look at the other ones. Um, hold on, and justify the means. No, never rely on. Okay, no, crash. Okay, hold on, adapt or die. Okay, crush. That's okay. Here's the thing. Number 6, which is crush threats completely or do not touch them at all. Tupac walked up to a person and punched them in the face, not knowing who he was putting his hands on. I'm gonna say that again. Tupac walked up to a person and punched them in the face and did not know who he was putting his hands on.
Yeah.
One of the rules that Machiavelli talked about as well in The Prince is that he said, "Do not start trouble with somebody that you do not know who they are.
Exactly.
Don't start trouble with somebody that if you don't know who they are, learn the terrain, learn your enemy more than yourself." So these are one of the principles that Machiavelli, the real one, talked about, which Tupac did not listen to that. And he ends up punching the right person at the wrong time in the face and ends up losing his life 7 days after that. And that's what happens when you read stuff like this and you think, oh, I got the rules.
Right.
You, without the right context, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have them. I assure you of it. You will get unalived real quick playing with people that you think are like you.
Well, and it goes back to because also, and I pointed this, I mentioned this on a live stream a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
Uh, one of the things regarding um, Pac was also, there's an element people forget that he is a classically trained actor, right?
That part.
And he wasn't necessarily of even the hoods. Like we're talking about, he grew up, born, I believe, Brooklyn, moved to Maryland, ended up in Oakland, right?
Right.
So the hoods that he was we're talking some hood shit, like the gangs that he was the crews that he was affiliating with through like Suge and Death Row and all them, they weren't things that he had grown up around or come up around. And when they interview the guys that were around in their orbit, they would mention this, like this wasn't really his group of people, but he was trying to play the role, if that makes sense, without denigrating him or insulting him or anything. He was not familiar with the entire landscape. He was trying to fit in.
Right.
Um, and so I'm saying all to say this: he didn't know who the wrong person was.
No.
He didn't have any concept of who who he could do this with and who he couldn't do it with. And this is what we're talking about with these power frameworks. You
Yeah.
have to be very, very, like, if you're going to try to apply this shit into your world, you have to be very, very cognizant of um, all the context you're operating in, and know all who all the players are, and have
Yeah.
an idea of what they are capable of before you start playing these power games with people, because it can go sideways really, really fast.
Real quick.
One of the most dangerous things, I used to tell my caseworkers this, um, when you start playing with the primal instincts and primal needs of humans, you're playing a dangerous game, and you're opening up you may be opening up a box that you cannot close, that you may not be equipped to close. And so you have to be very, very careful of when you start doing that kind of stuff. And power games and power dynamics, you can trigger something in somebody just like that.
Yep.
And so when you guys start trying to apply some of this shit into your world, you have to have an immense understanding of the board. I don't know if you have chess players out there, but you got to understand the board. You got to know what the board is. You got to memorize the board. You got to know what board you're playing with and who you're up against, because you could really checkmate yourself really fast by trying to implement this stuff. And Pac that's kind of what happened with Pac. Like,
Yep.
he was in unfamiliar circles trying to apply these power frameworks and power dynamics in groups that he wasn't necessarily had those kind of connections to.
Mm-hmm. And then and again ended up playing with the right person at the wrong time, and next thing you know, that's that.
Right.
You know
And
what I'm saying?
And it shouldn't have happened. It really shouldn't have happened.
No, but again, this is also one of those things that you try to explain to people that listen. That man died in natural ways. Think about that. He lost his life in a natural way, natural to his circumstances.
Right.
If you jump into the drug game, how do you think you're going to live?
Yeah.
And how do you think you're going to go out? So it's kind of like the same thing, literally, with that or whatever. So, unfortunately, it's just one of those things. So, without further ado, man, let's hop into it right quick. So one of the laws is to never outshine the master. Yeah. So the pro of this is that it preserves safety and longevity under a certain authority, right? So you kind of letting them do their thing while you sharpen your swords, which there's nothing wrong with that. Now the con to this is that you can suppress excellence and reward insecurity. So that's what they're doing. So because you are suppressing yourself, you're rewarded by, hey, I'm happy that you're letting me do my thing while you just wait for your turn to come. That doesn't help you at all.
No.
That helps them, but that doesn't help you. Right? And again, like I said, though, the biggest thing that we're talking about right now is, are these things realistic? Of course they're realistic. But here are the principles of it and why they work and why you cannot live your life by that. So if I want to start a company, but I don't do it because, matter of fact, great. I'll give you a great analogy. I want to start a company. Okay. I want to start a dog food company, but I already work for a dog food company. I don't do it. I have better ideas. I got this, I got that, I got all this other stuff, but I don't do anything because I already work here. These guys are already at the top of their game.
Right.
But I suppress my stuff. Right. I suppress my excellence and I'm rewarded with, hey man, I'm gonna give you a little bit of money here. Just gotta hold off on that. I got this. Hold off on that. I got this, right? And then you don't do anything. Right? Yeah. So again, because you're allowing somebody else to take over everything, you don't want to do that. So that's why never outshine the master works. If I'm a consigliere by definition. What does that word mean? It means that I'm a personal philosopher. That's what I am. I'm the guy that you go to if you need to see reason in certain shit. I'm that guy. For the
Right.
most part, depending on what we're talking about, right? But I'm that guy. I'm the guy who's talking to you, telling you what kind of advising you on what we do next.
Right.
But I'm not the boss. I don't ever intend to be the boss. If that makes any sense.
That makes sense.
Like I don't want to be the boss. I know where my lane is. And I like being in my lane. Right? Now, Brian, on the other hand, is he is the consigliere and the boss as well. Like he shares both roles, but more or less the the CEO, the owner, the creating role. That's where he is for the most part.
Right.
Right? Now he can wear both hats. I like my hat is consigliere. I like the hat of wisdom. I like
Right.
the hat of forethought to kind of sit back. Let me go study this. Let me go read this, and then I'll bring you the information, and then we can use that from there, right?
Right.
That's what I do. So I'm never going to outshine the master. I'm gonna always let the master do what he does. I want to make the master look good. That's what I do. But do you understand how this book wouldn't work for me, or
Right.
that law wouldn't work for me?
Well, and I'm gonna throw this in here
Please,
because I've done the hiring and management of people and stuff
right?
like that. If I hire you, I'm hiring you because you have a competency that I do not have,
Yes.
and you have skills that I do not possess. And
Uh,
so, as a supervisor or as a boss or as the business owner, if I hire you to do a thing, I am hiring you because you are better than me in this thing, or
right.
you're in a better position to execute the thing that I need to have done.
Hmm.
I don't want you to not outshine me. I want you to validate my hire of you and outperform me in the thing that I hired you for, because there's a reason why I hired you in the first place.
That's it.
I don't need a person who has my level of competence doing the same task. Otherwise, I would be doing it myself. And so
Hmm.
when you talk about don't outshine the master, the con is you have to read the room. If somebody's hiring you, if you have a boss that is one of those hands-off bosses that says, I don't care how this shit is done, I just want it done.
I just want it done. Ah,
I just want you to do what you do so that I don't have to worry about it. If you have that kind of boss, don't outshine the master will get you fired,
yeah, that part.
because they're not hiring you to be average or as good as they are. They are hiring you to do a thing that they cannot do themselves. And we're not even talking about bosses. You may be a business owner. Somebody isn't hiring you because they are looking for a peer in what you're doing. They're hiring you because you specialize in a thing that they don't have either have the capacity or the time to do themselves.
Right.
So always playing that, well, I don't want to outshine the master, I don't want to outdo him, I don't want to outdo him because of X, Y, and Z. You're presuming or assuming that everybody is a rampaging egomaniac.
Right.
And more times than not, if you're dealing with a successful business owner, um, not somebody who is out here just willy-nilly doing stuff, if you're dealing with somebody who's successful, they are not threatened by your competence. Matter of fact, that's why they brought you in the room.
Yep. Yeah, and matter of fact, I mean, and I think that a real leader wants you to outshine them.
Yeah.
Like they want you to. I want you to think about that. A real leader wants you to outdo them.
Yeah.
Because it's not that you're outdoing them, it's that you're putting the company on the map, right?
Right.
In general. Hold on. It's an example. Dude, what? Sorry about that. Um, okay, so either way. All right, so what is this?
um
Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
like I trained when I was running my program, I trained my immediate direct reports to do my job. I told them, I'm training you to do my job so that you can sit in my seat. And my instruction to you is find your lead worker, identify who your lead worker is on every shift, and train them to do your job as supervisor.
Okay.
Because that way, if something happens to you or happens to me, they can step in and run this thing and do what you're supposed to do without any gap. So I wanted my direct reports to be as good as me in a lot of aspects running it. There's certain things that I could not teach. Like there's certain capacities I had that were just kind of innate to
Hmm.
why I was in that seat in the first place. I had an innate ability to manage manage kids' behaviors, um, in a way that a lot of my staff did not. Right? I could manage, volatile situations because I had spent 5 years dealing with pure crisis situations up until that point. And
Okay.
and so there were certain tools I had in my box that I was actually trying to give my staff, but they weren't in a place where they could learn readily. What I'm saying is this though, I trained my staff to basically be able to fill in two levels above them.
Okay.
And there was no ego with that. So when my mom passed, I was able to take time off and my supervisors were able to run the show with minimum, yes, there were things that went sideways. There are always things that go sideways, but they had the capacity to deal with those in an effective manner to keep the whole shelter from burning down. Right.
Okay.
That's the problem with never outshine the master. If none of these people, if I didn't have any faith that these people could step up and do my job, that would keep me up at night. It'll make my job that much harder. So I don't buy that. I don't
Right.
necessarily buy that. You're basically suppressing, like you said, suppressing your excellence, and you're basically rewarding your boss's insecurity and inability to see outside themselves and see the bigger picture. That's all.
Right. Okay. So number two is never put too much trust in friends. Again, I totally understand that.
Mhm.
So the pro is encourages realism um over sentimentality,
Mhm.
right? Um, but the con, on the other hand, is that it breeds cynicism and transactional relationships
Yep.
or whatever. So, Brian, you want to take that, and then I'll kind of go from there.
So the thing is, and I think a lot of times we use the term friend way too loosely, but um, never put too much trust in friends, and that's very conditional because sometimes the reason why the person you've identified this person as a friend is because you can put that level of trust in them. Um, if you start treating all your friends like associates and all your associates like friends, you're going to have a whole circle full of people that you cannot trust.
Okay.
Um, and you have here's the thing, and I think, and I see it kind of playing out. Sorry, I'm adjusting my camera. I see it playing out in modern social media, like how people interact with one another, right? Like everything's a transactional relationship.
Right.
And when you only exist in transactional level relationships, it is very difficult to imagine a life where your relationships are not transactional. And that's
Right.
a lonely existence because you feel like in order for people to hang around with you, you have to be giving them something. You have to be giving them something. They're not enjoying your presence because of you. You feel like in your brain that, well, I have to be providing them something for me to hang out with. And so when you view your world through only a transactional lens, where all your relationships are transactional, it makes it very hard to form any long-term, lasting, and realistic relationships. You know, all the
Okay.
relationships are mutually beneficial, and the reality is, in human interaction, there is no relationship that is 100. There's no relationship that's 100% 50-50. Does that make sense?
Right.
At all times. That's just my experience. There's no such thing as we're always 50-50 kind of relationship. You know, sometimes it's 60-40, sometimes it's 50-50, sometimes it's 70-30, right? But it shifts around. Sometimes you're doing more of the heavy lifting and the other person may not be in a position to match your energy. But you always come together because there's something there. There's a connection there, right? I think
Right.
the idea of you can't trust any of your friends is a way to not have any friends. Because I'm not friends with
Dang.
people I don't trust. Like I don't trust people that don't trust me, and I don't want necessarily want people who don't trust me in my circle. And so for me, when we do that law of never put too much trust in friends, I think that in a power dynamic environment, like we're talking about your job at work, I didn't have friends at work. I had coworkers.
That part.
I had coworkers at work.
That part.
People I worked with. My friends were typically in different departments. Specifically where I was, every single secret that you didn't want known typically got leaked to the entire organization at happy hour because these people that you thought were your friends were sitting around telling your business. And so I didn't have friends working in the same department I had coworkers. Once I maneuvered out of it. Now, if I was friends before, I still remain friends. Does that make sense? Like if I knew them before I moved into the
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
There was already that basis. But I didn't go into my job with this idea that I'm going to find a bunch of friends and stuff and coworkers to hang out with. So if you're talking about the power game, if you're walking into an environment that is where you would be applying the 48 laws of power to advance, this is not an environment where you're going to be making friendships.
Right.
And so you can't really apply this. You shouldn't be making friendships in a position. You shouldn't be making friendships in a role where you are playing these weird power games with people. Like you shouldn't be making friendships. You're making alliances. This is like Survivor. You're playing right. Survivor.
Yeah, exactly.
You shouldn't have friends on this level if you're playing weird power games.
Like, dude, like if you guys are plotting on each other while you're at the store,
yeah,
at work, you don't need to be working there. You need to go figure something else out. Like seriously, which is so funny, dude, because like I've seen that happen before, where it's kind of like, and I'll be a little transparent. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like with the situation that I had or whatever. Like I was like, regardless of what was happening between myself and my counterpart at my store, I always told our employees, like, man, no matter what, dude, we're still a team. We work in unison. We work together. We work in one direction. We go in one direction, right? I would always say that. No matter what, I'm like, dude, don't take sides. It's dumb. Me and my guy will get our stuff figured out or whatever. For right now, I need y'all to keep bringing ideas, keep doing this and the other, blah, 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 whatever, right?
Right.
But come to find out later on, that same sentiment was not given towards me.
Right.
Whatever. It's like, ignore them. Don't listen to nobody over there. And it's kind of like, why would you shit on your own, like in your own company? Why would you divide your own company like that?
Right.
I've seen what happens with this. Like, I've seen what happens with this.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I would rather do things on a professional level than a friendship level when it comes to certain stuff.
Right.
I would rather, and again, this is because of what I've gone through. Like, I would rather do things on a business level than a friendship.
Right.
Because if you do it on a friendship, I think that there's more risk. There's more at stake, and then your circumstances and your expectations are a lot higher from a friendship transactional standpoint. Whereas when it's just business, you got your thing, I got my thing, we make this thing work together. That's it.
So I'll throw into some transparency. In my younger days, college, I was working at a department store, and I ended up. There was a young lady down there that I went to school with. I didn't know who she was. She knew who I was, right? And so I took her out on a date one time, one date, right? It wasn't what it was. She had a man, all this other. I don't know why she let me take her out on a date, but she had a boyfriend and shit like that. And so I'm working at a department store, and this department store sucks, and it no longer exists anymore.
What
And
is?
it was Sears, and the building it
Oh,
was in no
Sears.
longer.
Okay.
Yeah, um,
Crossroads.
yeah.
Got
And
you.
so, um, I was in a position where I'm like, I don't want to deal with this job. I was in college, I didn't really have to deal with it or whatnot. And so, um, long story short, I get to a point where I'm like, I'm fed up, like and I didn't know how to put in 2 weeks or any of that stuff. I was like 19 years old. And so, I finally had it out with my manager and said, you know what? I quit. I can't do this anymore. You guys aren't serious people. I have other things to do. I got to focus on my studies and stuff like that. And so
Okay.
I'm walking out and I got my stuff and I'm kind of walking out the door and I stopped by to just kind of give her a heads up, like, hey, I'm done with this place. I'm out of here. Right.
Okay.
And, kind of said, they on some BS or whatnot. And yeah, I thought it was what it was. And so come to find out, she is running around telling all these people he quit his job because he couldn't have me.
Oh wow.
And somebody said that, and pardon my language, this is verbatim, this is what I said. I said, I don't know that motherfucker. Like, I don't know her. I
Mm.
told her I don't know her like that. We went on a date. It wasn't great. I was just telling her I'm walking out like I'm out. I'm done with this place. Good luck. And she took it as I had this level of familiarity where I had to leave, I had to actually quit the job and so a lot of times people will position themselves in your orbit like that. And that's why I'm like, I don't
So
have,
you took her out on a date?
yeah, I took one date and it was like,
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, but I can understand. I can understand how she would link one thing to the other, though.
yeah,
It'd be different if you had never took her out
yeah,
and y'all was just on some friendship stuff and whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have understood like where your curiosity of like, well, I don't know why she would even say that
yeah,
or whatever. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
But being that you took her out, that's kind of on you.
Well, okay, so let me explain it to you. Let me explain how the date happened. Uh, Now a friend of mine who I did have, I was a friend with before I came in. He's like, such and such. I'm like, name sounds familiar. It's like she said she went to school with you. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, she wanted me to ask you if you would ask her out,
Yeah, that sounds like some kitty shit.
and I was like, I, I, I guess. And it's like, all right, cool. And so that's where it spawned up. And so I went on the date. I wasn't necessarily feeling it. It wasn't anything like that. And I even told her like, not. And so
I gotta
when I
ask, what did you? You're 19 years old. Where did you take her?
like
Fuddruckers.
movie, we went out to a movie, went out to eat something.
Where was this movie at?
Uh, this was like Oakview back in the days. Oakview,
Oakview.
yeah. Oh, the AMC Oakview.
Okay.
And so here's the thing that like we did that and there was like really no interaction. I didn't follow up. I didn't call. I didn't do anything. I'm like, yeah, this ain't like, I basically like, this ain't necessarily it. Right. And so when I'm saying like, this was months and months after we had small talked, we had talked, we were cool, I thought. And so I said, yeah, management's tripping here. Like I gave her the full story. Like I'm not getting along with my manager. This place ain't really it. Nobody knows the men's department even exists in Sears. And
Mhm.
so we don't be doing nothing. I'm trying to get the commission job. That's not working out. So I got other opportunities. I'm out of here. Because I had
Okay.
I had my internship. I had my internship do it in the engineering department at Union Pacific. Like I actually had real things lined up. Like I ain't doing this. And so she took that and basically he's running around. He couldn't like it was this entire narrative fiction that she came up with. Like he couldn't have me. And I just like, what are you talking about? Like how am I in your story like that? Like I'm a in my mind, you're talking about if we're like in like we're talking about in senses of like a movie, right?
Mhm.
Like you're talking about um this background character in my existence, and I thought I was a background character in her life. Like I wouldn't even think to be that present in somebody's headspace. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for
And so
sure.
when I said that, like, yeah, I'm out of here. It's not a big, I'm gone. And I told it's like it's the management stuff. I'm not feeling it. And
Mm.
to run around and tell all these people, oh man, like you're lying. Like you're taking this and making it so that you know it's above here. And then,
Right.
oh, well, he stalked me and he was calling me, and I'm like, no, I wasn't. I didn't. I am literally, I'm not that person. And so
Oh
it,
wow.
I am not that person where I'm calling you and blowing up your stuff and all that other stuff. I don't engage on that level with folk. And so, yeah. And so that was a lesson where I'm like, I don't have these kind of relationships with coworkers. I don't have
No,
this
I
level of
got you.
interaction with coworkers. And that was my thing because I'm like, and it didn't hurt me, it didn't impact me, it didn't ruin my life or anything. I just thought it was funny. Like you were this little fixated. It's like I didn't even really know, like I didn't even know we went to school together.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? Like
Hmm.
it's like, oh, we went to school together. And I'm like, I don't know who this person is. I was in school
Right.
with you for 4 years. I didn't know who you were. And I wasn't Mr. Popular or anything. So what I'm saying is I'm saying all that to say this. I misjudged or misinterpreted. I thought we were still associates, and in her mind, that's not what the case was.
Hmm. Right.
And so when I said, "Hey, I'm out of here," she thought that this was some big, or it was an ego thing. I don't know
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
where she had just make
So,
it.
so like self-preservation
Yeah,
type stuff or whatever to make it seem like it was more than what it was, which it was not.
right.
No, I get it. No, that
Because
makes sense.
I'm neurodivergent, and my ADHD. If I mess with you, I keep in regular contact with you. I
Yeah.
check in with you. We have this weekly show. I check in with you. You check in with me and stuff like that. If it's on that level, then you're going to hear from me often, right?
Hmm.
Um, if you're if family's a different thing, but if we're just friends, it's a different thing. If I interact with you and then you never hear from me again, like I never ring your phone again to small talk or anything,
Right.
that ain't there.
Right.
And so that's why I go back into it. Like, don't play these weird power. Like, you should not be in a position where you're playing weird power games with people that you consider friends. That just doesn't make any
Mhm.
sense. Sorry, I dominated all that, but yeah,
No, no,
that's
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you for thank you for the walk down memory lane. All right, so number 3 is to conceal your intention. Again, we're talking about the pros and cons of the 48 laws of power. Number 3 is conceal your intention. So the pro is that it protects strategy from sabotage.
right,
And the con is that it erodes trust if it's overused. Here's the thing. If you're at a place where you need to conceal your intentions, again, that's not a place where you should be. By no means. If you're working, because most of us are working, or most of us are doing something, or we have dreams, goals, aspirations, things that we want to be, do, have, give, and go in life. And if your objective is to conceal your intentions of where you are, depending on what we're talking about, you're a piece of shit,
yeah,
right? If you're dating, what are your intentions? Do you just want to hit it and quit it? If you're working somewhere, do you want the money? Do you want the education or the training, or do you just want the prestige?
right,
Like what are your intentions? Right? If you're about to marry somebody, a person would say, "What are your intentions with my daughter?" Or "What are your intentions with my son?" Or if you're working at a place, "Why do you want to work here?" So
right,
they're asking like, "What's your intentions?" So you want to be forthcoming and upfront about certain stuff, right?
right.
Like at least to me, you would want to, right? What do you think, my guy?
I think, and the conceal your intentions thing, like I can get it. Like the context you applied earlier at the beginning of the conversation was perfect. If you're in a position like you play these power games when you're close to this throne, when you're close to
There,
that seat of
there you
power,
go. There
or
you
where
go.
you are in this highly competitive,
Yep.
high level kind of thing. But if you're like, again, the example I use, if you are the head cheese grater at Olive Garden, you don't need to be doing this Machiavellian shit and like I can't let them
Oh
get
my
too close.
gosh.
I can't let them get too
Right.
close.
Right.
Like you
Right.
there's a contextual frame here. If you're doing this with your brothers and sisters, you need to go get therapy. Like there's an issue there
That
where
yes.
like
Yes.
or if you have to do this with your friends, like people that you consider actual friends, where you have to, I gotta play this super close to my chest.
Right. Like, why would you do that?
And I'm
Why
not
would
saying
you shit? And again, I know people like this. It's like, why would you shit on your own company?
well, and I guess, and there's a difference between oversharing personal stuff. Like that
Right.
entire dating story is probably oversharing. I don't care. But
Yeah, I get
but
that. But the
but
context, though,
yeah,
the context didn't hurt Sears.
right.
The
If
context didn't hurt Sears.
but if you're sitting there like your job is, yeah, I train like I'm the chief tire rotator, you know, the idea that you are playing this high level, high stakes Machiavellian game of you're playing Game of Thrones at a place where you all clock out every
Right.
day. That's not how that works. And I think what happens is there's sometimes when you are like, if you're in that seat and you're about to move up, okay, some of this stuff may apply to you.
Gotcha.
If you're in a competitive space where you're trying where you are close to this power and you're going to move up, that might make sense. But even then, you don't apply these, you don't make this your personality, because when people step into a room with somebody whose personality is 48 laws of power,
Right.
you can feel it, and instantly
Mhm.
you're like, what are you playing at?
Like, yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
like
It's,
like like
it's almost. Go ahead. Go ahead.
you playing Game of Thrones, and like this is supposed to be like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Like you doing this,
Right.
you're doing this super high level maneuvering and stuff like that. And we've talked about it off air. Like we've talked about it with stuff we've interacted with and things along those lines. That's where the misuse comes from, bro. Like the conceal your intentions is a really interesting one. Like I said, what
Yeah, no,
intentions are you hiding from people that you don't want them to know? If it's
right.
not related to like if it's just interpersonal relationships.
Exactly. And I mean, for that, I would understand. But what happens when you do this out of business?
Yeah.
What happens when you own the business and you're doing this shit?
That's
When
the
you
problem.
when you tell one, but you won't share with the other one, so everybody's on the same page. Because when everybody's on the same page, we move in unison together.
Yeah.
If your objective is to hide this over here from what these people are doing, dude, why would you do that? Share it so everybody's on the same page, so we all move together in the same direction.
But business partnerships require a level of sharing that most people don't understand. They require a level
Right.
of I hate to say intimacy and sharing and transparency.
You have to, motherfucker, in order to do this, you have to be transparent.
Mhm.
I gotta know your shit. You need to know my stuff, even on some personal type stuff. Whatever you're into, I'm into, because that's how this whole thing fucking works.
Right.
It falls apart when I'm letting you know shit, but you don't say nothing to me.
Right.
It falls apart when you're doing fuck shit behind a person's back, and then you're pillow talking to your bitch about certain stuff, and then not only that, but you're lying about other stuff, or you're making untruths, which is still lying about one thing over the other, and it's kind of like, dude, why would you shit on your own company?
Well, and I guess for me,
that's crazy to me.
for me, like my business partner, I will say, hey, this thing is coming up. We need to keep this close to the chest.
Right, but at least
We're
you guys are
concealing it.
talking about it.
Yeah, we're concealing
Hey,
it as a team. We're concealing the
we
intentions as a team.
we need to keep this close to the chest.
Yeah,
We're going to kind of isolate ourselves for a minute,
yeah,
let this ride out, and then we'll let everybody else know what's going on. But if I did that and I'm not telling my partner,
right.
then that means I'm a piece of shit.
Well, and that's people will apply this framework to their marriage, and you can't,
right,
or their kids, and you can't do that.
You can't do that.
You can't do that. I'm concealing my intentions because, and I've actually worked with somebody who did do that. In the group home world, I've worked with somebody that's how they ran things, where it was always like this super mysterious, almost Batman level thing, and the kids would say it felt like living in under surveillance or in a museum because this mystery person is like, I don't really have an idea of who they are, and it's a different sense. Like I never told the kids my age, right? I never overshared intimate details of my life with the kids I worked with, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I told them enough that they knew that I was a three-dimensional person with a life outside. The kids did not know like that about the other person, and they would tell afterwards, like, yeah, it was super uncomfortable. And I think that was the intention, to keep everybody at arm's distance. But at the same time, you cannot maintain long-term relationships like that.
Right. No.
And a business partnership may be different than a friendship, but you still require the same level of communication. You require a friendship level of communication.
You gotta have it, and without it, bro, you're kind of fucking yourself.
Yeah, you're hurting yourself.
You know what I'm saying? And not just yourselves, but the company as a whole.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you look at this, if it was a triangle, I'm on one side, you're on one side, and then the company or the relationship is up on top.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain things I cannot do for you directly that I can do for the fulfillment of the relationship that will benefit you as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? Again, if I'm not going to put money directly in your pocket, but if I put money in the company's pocket, that directly puts money in your pocket as well.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that I cannot do for you directly that I can do for you indirectly.
Right.
And that's how this whole thing works or whatever. But if you're trying to hide things, if you're trying to stay close to the chest, but you're not letting your partner know what's going on or whatever, like I'm telling you right now, the one thing that I've noticed that will destroy a relationship faster than anything else is silence.
Right.
That will destroy a relationship faster than cheating, faster than disloyalty, faster than anything else. It's literally silence.
That will do it.
Kill it. And so it. Keeping things to yourself will kill it faster than anything.
I want to take number 4 because this one is important. Like, I got a lot for this one. Law 4, always say less than necessary. Okay. The pro is increases perceived power and control. The con, it can be mistaken for coldness or arrogance or incompetence. I'm going to tell you why. When you're managing people, your job is to over communicate.
Okay.
Your job is if you're managing people and truly delegating a task, your job is to make sure not only communicate the task, communicate what your expectations are for said task, and then ask to make sure that they comprehend and that they have all the tools available to execute said task.
Gotcha.
That is 4 levels of communication. Okay. And I'm fully aware of the idea of communication overhead at a point where 100% of your job becomes communication. Like there's a threshold. The more people you add to the team, the more your job becomes more communication and less other stuff, right? Okay. But this entire always say I've worked under this enigmatic say less than necessary kind of leadership. It is the most frustrating leadership in the world, where somebody wants you to do a thing, but they don't tell you how they want it done. They don't give you any parameters for getting it done. And then when it's not done right, they bitch and moan about it. It
It's a
is
yes.
it is infuriating. This will absolutely, as a supervisor, if you're a leader of people, always saying less than necessary is a fast track to always be turning over employees.
And not only that though, but this is also a subset of concealing your intentions
Yep.
or whatever. Because, or at least on number 3, concealing your intentions are, I'm concealing it from myself. I'm just not telling you. Number 4 is where I just let you just kind of willy nilly go out there, but I'm not telling you right from wrong. I'm not schooling you. I'm not educating you on anything. It's like, well, you'll figure it out. Like, no, wait, what?
Yeah.
You're not paying me to figure it out. You're paying me to give me direction so that I can figure it out from there.
Mhm.
But we're not gonna play this whack-a-mole game of what do you know versus what do I know? Because I
Right.
could go somewhere else and do all of that.
Right. Like, what are you, Batman? Like, what is this? Like, you have to be mysterious. I don't understand. Like,
Oh my god, I love that. What are you, Batman?
I don't understand. I think to me it's almost pretentious. Like there's a level of where it is pretentious to play this always say less than necessary.
Right.
Sometimes
Like, yeah, just be quiet. Just
yeah.
don't. I mean, I think that there's certain times that
Right.
you do need to keep your mouth shut. Shut the fuck up.
You buying a car? You buying a car?
Say less.
Sit there and be quiet
Say
and let them
less.
talk.
Yep.
But when you are when you are a leader of people, that's saying less than necessary. You need to say exactly what is necessary. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning
Thank
in.
you. Thank you much.
You need to say everything that is necessary and then ask if they comprehended it. If you're
Right.
working with a business partner, your job is to over communicate so that they have a firm grasp of
Yes.
all the context of they're walking into.
Yes. You know what's really crazy about this is that, let's go back to, so when people say, keeping, conceal your intentions, say less than necessary, I want you to think about this. Say less than necessary. There was this book again, because you guys know me. I'm your personal philosopher. I'm your consigliere. But there's this book that I read. It's called In Case You Die or something like that. And the book was talking about all of the problems that people have once they pass on, like if they're married, if they're a parent, or this and the other. And people have to dig through your life to try to find your insurance policy. Was there any money for this? Who do I pay? Who do I call if something goes wrong on this? What's your password to your phone? Like, I want you to think about that for a second.
Right.
That most people don't really consider. If something were to happen to you, what are the instructions? Who's gonna know how to carry on without you? You see what I'm saying? My son is 13 years old. There's not a password. There's not a lockbox. I got all these books in here, right? I got books all over the place. Some of them actually have secret openings where you can put money into them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain paths, there's certain things inside of some of these books that I have. I love doing that. Malcolm X once said that if you want to hide something from the Negro, put it in the book. Great thing is that you can hide most shit from most people because you ain't gonna read anything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do, right? So the one thing that I do, or the one thing that I did, was I make sure that I tell my son everything. There's not a lock that I have. There's not a phone that I have. There's not a password that I have that my son doesn't have access to as well. Nothing. He knows exactly where my money is. He knows exactly. He's 13.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I want y'all to think about this for a minute. Matter of fact, for those of you who are watching, I want you, if you don't answer us online. I just want you to think about this question. For those of you showing up, how many of you right now, if something were to happen to you, somebody around you has all the passwords and knows exactly what to do in the case of your demise?
Yeah.
I'm really asking you that. How many of you are married or with somebody who has who knows your password to your cell phone? Who knows the password to your computer? Who knows? Brian, let me ask you: does your wife know all your passwords?
Yeah.
Know exactly who to call in
Yeah.
case this and the other happens? Whatever. If you
Yeah.
passed on, she can keep it pushing.
Yeah. Yeah. She does. And that's the thing, because, and this is, I think that maybe this is the context we need to put in. We are not telling you, person that you've just met online 3 weeks ago needs
No,
to have intimate knowledge of
no.
all of the goings ons within your
With
world
your
or
life,
sphere.
no, not at all.
And this guy or this guy or girl that you just started dating 6 months ago needs to know every single of your darkest, you know, 2 a.m. confessions or
That
all your
part.
passwords to your stuff. What we are saying is this: for people that you have that level of relationship with, children, spouses, long-term boyfriend, long-term girlfriend, even friends, being this enigmatic, you know, figure in their world is the only, they'll never trust you. You'll wonder why they're concealing stuff from you, is because they know that you're concealing stuff from them. And so you got to be really careful of how you apply this. Now, the context framing. If you are going for some kind of promotion, if you are in a position where, and everybody knows this, you're working in an office full of snitches and tattletales. If you're working in an office full of, if you're working in a building full of snitches and tattletales, or people that are jockeying to gain some kind of advantage, even though they may never have it, that's a different game. And you may be able to apply the say less than necessary framework, but that is a very narrow context. If you make this your entire thing, and some people aren't communicative, right? Like some people don't talk a lot, which is fine,
right?
But trying to intentionally remain vague and remain mysterious, nobody respect. People see through that. So we're saying don't overshare with strangers. And some of y'all social media world will become way too familiar way too soon with people that you don't know. And so, yeah, you may want to say less than necessary to them. They don't need to know all your details. They don't need all your business. You know, but there's levels to this. You cannot use this. And I think maybe the entire crux of what we're saying around the 48 laws of power is this cannot be your framework for regular human interaction.
For life, correct. Not at all.
Not for baseline, regular,
not at all,
run-of-the-mill human interaction. If you apply the 48 laws of power to
your everyday life,
you
are have a problem.
You're living like old boy from American Psycho, right? Like you're living that life.
That part.
What's that dude's name? God, I can see his face. The one Christian Bale played in American Psycho.
I don't know the guy's name, but I know what you're talking about.
Where he was the serial killer. Okay, so that makes sense. Like you got to keep your stuff close to chest. But if you're just doing this in your friends and family circle, you probably need to evaluate your friends or family circle if you got to do the 48 laws of power in your interpersonal groups.
Like, yeah, if you have to read Machiavelli the Prince, if you have to read The Art of War before you go to Thanksgiving dinner,
yeah,
I'm just saying you should. I probably wouldn't go that year.
Right. Skip it. Skip it.
I would. I would. I'm just saying. All right, so let's jump to the fifth one. Okay. Guard your reputation with your life. Again, this is the one that I'm always telling people about. The pro is that your reputation compounds faster than effort.
Yep.
The con is that image management can replace integrity. Here's the thing. Your reputation is not yours. It's the opinion that somebody has about you based on what they've seen you do or what they've imagined that you will do.
Right.
That's it. Now, integrity is something that's already within you. Character, it's something that's already character is what you do. Integrity is what you are.
Right.
But your reputation is the opinion that somebody has about you based on how they've imagined you to be, based on either imagination, character, but I can't say integrity because they don't know what your integrity is. So
Right.
it's just based on character. It's based on what they've seen you do. So again, how can you guard something that's not yours?
Right.
I mean,
Well,
like you can't guard something that has nothing. Some of it has something to do with you, but if you're dead, I could say whatever I want about you, and there's nothing you can do about it, and there's nothing nobody else can do about it.
right. And I think that's the thing where, because here's the thing, sometimes your reputation is dirt because of all the 48 laws of power games that you've been trying to play with folk, and that's what your reputation is. And so sometimes you're setting your own table.
Right,
Um, I understand guarding your reputation, like not letting people, put dirt on your name, or not letting, um, making sure that you're living a trustworthy and honorable life, right? But when you become so obsessed with image management, it's hollow. You're not doing
right.
it for any other reason but besides you want people to talk nice about you.
That's it.
And sometimes that's there are certain people that you don't want, like it's not necessarily a good thing to have their have them hold you in high esteem.
Right,
Sometimes they don't matter. Sometimes you're exhausting yourself to create this image of yourself that doesn't really matter. It doesn't benefit you, and you're held in high esteem by people who don't really shouldn't matter to you in the first place.
not at all.
You know, and it turns into um, this weird BS game. Like you're always cultivating this image, and there's nothing to it. Does that make sense? Like you're
Hmm.
cultivating this image, but it's just a hollow, empty vessel. Because all the only person remaining is this PR person. Does that
Right.
make sense? And so, yeah, I understand that. And people get obsessed with this guard your reputation, the compounds fat. I understand that. Reputation can precede you. It leaves it, what integrity is what you do when nobody's looking, right? If you have a reputation as of a man or woman of a man or woman of integrity, that can absolutely help you out. But if
Right.
all you're doing is trying to show everybody how much integrity you have, nobody believes that you have integrity. Does that
Yep.
make sense?
Say that one more time.
If all you're doing is spending time showing the world how much integrity you have, nobody believes that you have integrity.
As you're an integral type of person, no.
It becomes performative.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
For sure. No, I totally get that. All right. So number 6, um, court attention at all costs. So the pro is visibility creates opportunity, which I totally understand that.
Mm.
The con is that attention without substance attracts enemies. I think that you see a lot of that online,
Oh yeah.
like all day long. Again, visibility creates opportunity 100%. The more that people see you, the more opportunities you will have for certain things, as long as you're actually presenting it in the way into the right people that actually want your whatever it is that you're offering. But the
Uh-huh.
con to that is that the attention without substance attracts enemies. It attracts the wrong type of attention, if you
So
will. So again, that's where your rage baiting and stuff comes in at. That's where race baiting comes in at. That's where a lot of that attention without substance. Um,
let me
again, we go ahead.
Go. No, I'm pulling up something because I
Oh,
got somebody who encapsulates number 5
okay.
and number 6.
Okay, so wait, my what I was going to say is Charleston White versus the Charlie Kirk thing or whatever.
Mm.
Charleston White talks a lot um about the black community. Hey, we need to do better. This is what we're doing wrong. This, that, and the other, blah 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 blah. And when Charlie Kirk passed was murdered, people likened Kirk to Charleston, and Charleston's like, no. Our problem is that he said the biggest difference between me and him is that with my people or black people, I talked about us and what we need to do to change our situation
Hmm.
about us. Charlie, they've never taken any accountability for shit that they've done,
Yeah.
for anything that they do. So no, it is not the same thing. And I totally understood where he was coming from. And he's like, no, with my people, I understand what we've done and what we're doing to show this particular part of bullshit
Yeah.
within our culture and our community. Kirk and them, they never say that they've done anything wrong and that there's anything that they do wrong. So no, he said they don't ever check them
Mm-mm.
for going around doing the shit that they do. They act like they're justified for doing it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then when they get called out for it, they try to victimize themselves that they didn't do anything.
They're throwing
Or
the
that
rock and hiding your
or
hands.
they're throwing a rock and hiding their hands, or well, I'm just telling you like it is, but that's not how it is. And there's so many nuances to what they're talking about that they leave those out intentionally.
So if you want to see the encapsulation of number 5 and number 6 running rampant, I'm
Go
putting
ahead, give it to me.
on the Summer Jam screen. Derek Jackson. Um, so I don't know if you know who this gentleman is.
I do not. Who is he?
So Derek Jackson, he was big in the relationship space, right? And his approach was, I'm a come in, and he had an audience mostly of women, and
Gotcha.
he was going to come in and tell women all the games that men play with them, and building them up in a lot of motivational content or whatnot. And there was
What's his
never a
name?
Derek Jackson. And the Jackson is spelled stupidly. The Jackson is spelled idiotically, like Jaxn Jackson. So you know it's pretentious bullshit. Um,
Gotcha.
but Derek Jackson courted that camera. He was never outside of a camera, outside of the range of a camera. And he made sure whenever there was some kind of celebrity scandal where some guy was cheating or some kind of social media thing going around where somebody's cheating, he always weighed in, he always put in. And the reality is, if you separate the intentionality from the bullshit, there was good information in there for keeping healthy boundaries and relationships or whatnot. But it was always in the frame of, you know, don't let these men do this to you, don't let them play you and stuff like that. And then talking about how wonderful his relationship was. You see where
Gotcha.
we're going. You see where we're going. I hope you're kind of picking up where I'm going with this. And so he would hold his relation, like he was kind of framing himself as this guy that honored his wife and treated his wife right and all this other stuff. Come to find out, of course he was cheating. Of course he was cheating with everybody that he could get, everybody he can get into this act. Um, to the point where he had his wife was meeting some of these girlfriends. Like it was really kind of a messed up like situation. And then when you see his wife and how she responded to it, you're like, dang, she's given low self-esteem and all this other stuff. But then they tried to turn it into a grift. Like when he got exposed for cheating, and I think he got some other lady pregnant or whatnot. But when he got exposed for cheating, instantly it was, we're going to apologize, and now me and my wife we're going to showcase how we rebuild from this. And then eventually the wife was having relationship boot camps and all this other stuff, trying to spin this dude's infidelity into something to put money in their pockets.
Oh wow.
The reason why I say this encapsulates number 5 and number 6, there was a lot of reputation management that was going on the front end where he's really establishing himself as this honorable, upstanding guy, right?
Okay.
Come to find out that's not necessarily who he was. That's not a crime. Like a lot of people will do that. And there's a duality of human beings. I'm not on that piece of it, right?
Mhm.
But then the courting attention at all costs, when you combine these two things. So he was always presenting himself as something that he wasn't quite living up to and holding other guys to a standard that he wasn't fulfilling himself. But then he was always in eye view of a camera. And then his wife, who has gone from she was hurt and cheating. If you've when you get a chance, just when you got some time, Google the social media thing where he and his wife are sitting on the couch and he's disclosing all of this stuff. It is the most uncomfortable thing that you'll ever see in your life.
I think I remember seeing some of it about a couple years ago, right?
And then it pivots into, and now we're selling a $9,700 boot camp so that you can get your relationship right. Y'all is on the brink already, and you're selling a $10,000 course to teach other people how to get their stuff right. And so it was a relationship management nightmare. And I think the thing that people were left with specifically is the disingenuousness of the whole thing. It didn't feel like real people going through this. It felt like he is a grifter, which he was, and he is grifting, and now his wife is in on the grift. And neither one of these people feel authentic, even though there were real feelings, real pain. There are children involved. There's all kinds of other shit that's going on in the background. But the human element was ripped out of it because there was so much reputation management and so much attention whoring that it turned into something else. He encapsulates social media run amok. And
wow.
the influencer bubble, and how people present themselves as something that they're not really, and they're not doing it for because they just want to look great on camera. They're doing it to get your money. So, but yeah, his entire thing, and a lot of dudes read it off the rip. I know there's a whole other segment of, like red pill kind of manly men, masculine, hyper masculine, kind of dudes that had their own axe to grind with dude. I just thought he was full of shit.
Right.
And you can be full of shit and be a decent person. But yeah, I feel like he kind of represents that. It was empty when he had when his wife and him were having the whole transparent conversation. It felt like somebody bullshitting you, even though this was a real thing. You're watching a real couple deal with somebody's infidelity in real time. And it was a public embarrassment because she got embarrassed in front of hundreds of thousands of people. So that's what I'm saying. That's what happens when that shit goes amok. So
all right, so yeah, so number 6, like I said, court all attention at all costs, which is, I mean, it is what it is. I'll get others to do the work, which is the law number 7. I mean, dude, do I even need to say anymore?
Go ahead.
Get others to do the work for you. Like, dude, okay, so the pro is that leverages systems and delegation, which is fine. The con is that exploitation destroys loyalty.
Yes.
So, and again, I've seen this happen as well, where like I remember playing Grand Theft Auto 5, and in Grand Theft Auto 5, Michael, one of the main characters, there's several different heists that you have. You got to rob a bank, you got to rob all these things or whatever, but depending on where you are in the story, you have to pay quite a bit of money to get the people that you need in order to pull off the heist. Or you can do the storyline and bring the people's arguments up with you. So you guys will all grow together. So now if you buy the best people, you're going to spend the most money. But if you, and that's on the front end. But if you let everybody kind of build together, you'll make more money on the back end than
Yep.
you will on the front. And at one point, Michael says, I feel like I'm buying the heist instead of working the heist. And I've always remembered that. And that's what number 7 is. Law number 7 is get others to do the work for you. You're taking the privilege of putting in the work.
Mhm.
I want you to listen to what I'm telling you. You're taking away the privilege, the honor of putting in the work, and you're giving it to another person who, for the most part, doesn't give a shit because you're paying them.
Mhm.
When it's yours, when you're living up to this particular thing, you don't want somebody else to do the work. You want to do as much as you possibly can. So if something messes up, you know how to fix it. You ain't gotta call you ain't gotta call HR. You ain't gotta call IT. You don't have to call these other people to come in and fix your issue. You can fix it yourself. And that's what I've seen.
Right.
But again, I also know people that do that where it's like, no, I'm gonna just have you do it. Like,
Uh,
why?
Well, people know, like, people know when you're doing this. Like, people know when you're cheating on the group, when you're cheating on the group project, right? Like, people know that and they don't respect it. Like I've experienced it where I've done something that I spent months and months of my time on at a job, a project that I was specifically asked to do, and then have somebody come in on the back end and plant the flag. And like I said, everybody's going to be the protagonist in their own story. So I need y'all to
Mhm.
understand this when I'm saying that before I preface this. But um early 2010s, like that'd be 2012, 2013. I got tasked with building a shared resource, online resource for our workers in the field where they could access it from their phones. And so, since they knew I was the digital notebook, Evernote, OneNote guy, they're like, well, how do you do this where you have your stuff on the cloud and you can always access it? And so, they put me on a work group. I set it up, worked with IT, did all this other stuff. I was the main one going. The person who invited me on actually took a job at another site, and so I kind of ended up becoming the main point person for this, right?
Gotcha.
And this other worker, because I was a supervisor, the other worker was just a frontline worker. They got put on it, right? And so I was the one who had done a lot of the testing and optimizing and putting all the stuff on there and teaching and training people and working with IT. They put this other person on there, and immediately my supervisor and her supervisor end up deferring to the new person, like
Okay.
asking them to present on it and asking them to do X, Y, and Z. She didn't know how this fucking thing worked because she didn't do any of the work, but she was happy to take the credit for this project that I had spent 6 months on and she had maybe spent 2 at
Right.
best on. And so the time came to present it, and instead of asking me to present the thing at the entire meeting, they asked her.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets up there. She didn't know how to she didn't know how the damn thing worked.
Right. Of course
And
you're not.
And so I'm sitting there in the audience like, okay, do I get up here and bite the bullet? Because my staff need to be able to access this thing too. And this is going to prevent the rollout of this because they're going to think it doesn't work. And
Okay.
so I had to bite the bullet, get up there and say no and help out and kind of show how this thing actually works and all this other stuff. Long story short, who got all the credit for it?
Of course.
Yeah. And who was the one that was because I was pissed and I didn't mince any words about it. I said, this is kind of bullshit. I'm the one who put in all the work on this and I don't even get acknowledged on my own project. Well, it's not about that. It's about the team. I said, yeah, but when the promotions come out, it's going to be about that.
Right.
And lo and behold, the promotions came out. I was gone, by the way. At that time, I had already left the
He's had
organization.
already tipped on out.
I had already gotten my promotion somewhere else. But lo and behold, they ended up becoming the golden child. But I never respected them for that.
Right.
Because instead of saying, no, I really don't know a lot about this, Brian's the one that actually did this. Because that's what I would do. I'm not the
Yep.
expert here.
Yeah.
I'm not the expert on this thing.
Right.
If you want to know who really the architect is, I just came on at the back end. Here's Brian. He's the one who set this thing up. Instead,
Right.
it was, ooh, I got a chance at the table and stuff like that. And so people know when you're bullshitting, bro. People know when you're doing that, when you're letting other people do all the work for you and you're taking the credit for it, and they don't respect it. They may not confront you on it immediately, but people won't respect you after that. And I never helped her. Like at that point, unless it's about helping a family or something, I never went above and beyond to provide assistance to that person if I could get away with it. Like if it wasn't some family at risk or some staff at risk, I wasn't going above and beyond to interact with that person because I'm like, that's all they do. That's who they are. People don't
Right.
trust you when you do that shit. All right.
Yeah, no. No, and it's funny enough that you hold on, let me make sure. Is that it? I think that's it. Um no, funny enough, I've also oh no, that's not it either. That's I've had that happen to me on multiple occasions as well. Where again, I'm the consigliere. I'm your
Mhm.
personal philosopher when it comes to certain stuff or whatever. So I may give I may give a reframe or a different perspective shift on certain things, and then somebody will be like, "Oh yeah, well, we did this together. Now we didn't do shit. I did it, and I gave it to you." But I'm okay with you taking that
Right.
to a certain degree. But like there's certain things that I do take offense to. Like I'm not gonna lie, I do. Um, like one of the things for me is like building stuff or whatever. Like so, one of the things that I would talk to my partner about was, hey man, like I know that we tell people that we built this thing within a short time, but I'm like, bro, we didn't do that. I did.
Right.
Like me and a few other people, it was myself. Jessica was there sometimes, whatever. Uh, Miss Anya and Jeremy. Like we were the ones that were there from usually sun up to sundown, building that shit out.
Right.
Like you know what I'm saying? When they would go home, I would be there till 2, 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. You know what I'm saying? So like, no, it's not a thing of we built shit within a short period of time. I built most of this stuff within a short period of time. If anything were to happen and anything were to go wrong, I knew how to fix it because I dealt with them longer than everybody else.
Right.
And again, I'm not, and I think that that putting yourself out there and be like, no, like this is what I did. This is kind of my baby.
Mhm.
This is, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't mind my baby having step parents, but don't act like you were there from the entire beginning because you were not.
Well,
Like,
and
and
I
if I
don't.
gotta beg you to show up, and
Right.
again, this is for anything. If I gotta beg you to show up, then this ain't your thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So don't take kudos for some shit that you didn't do. Like,
And I
and again, that's for anything. Because again, I've seen that happen on so many different levels for so many different people. Don't like what do you what? Stop that shit.
well, and I guess for me, it goes back to this. I don't mind letting somebody else stand in the spotlight as long as we've had that conversation. Because I
Yes,
am,
yes,
and
yes.
people see my face on my social media feed all the time talking to a camera. I am not that super social person. That is something I got social anxiety. There's a whole raft of other things I got
Right.
going on in my brain.
So there's a whole raft.
Um, but and I don't mind playing the back or letting somebody else stand in the spotlight as long as I'm feeling like I got my credit for the stuff I did. I don't mind that stuff. What I
Yeah.
don't, it kind of goes back to what you're saying. What I don't respect is if I'm the one that built the whole framework and built the whole thing that makes the thing run, and then you step in and act like you did this, that, and the
Like
third,
you're the right, yeah.
like you're the primary person who
Yes.
did the thing, you know, that is the part where I'm like, hold on a second. That's why I was like, when I
Yes.
when I was like, it matters when the promotions run around. For me, I didn't necessarily care about the spotlight, but the promotion side of things is like, this puts more money in my pocket, it's more money for my family, you know, and stuff like that. That's where it's like now you're stepping on that side of it.
Right, I
And I
got
have
you.
an issue with that side of it. But yeah, that is a weird thing. That's a weird thing to do. And that isn't something that somebody just decides to do one day. You, the little kid in the classroom that cheated on the group on on the group project. Like you
That
didn't do
part.
shit on the group project
Yep.
and just stand in the background. And then when the A's are coming out or getting handed out, you the first one to take it. You didn't put in the work.
Yeah, that part.
So that's a real thing. And I think people overestimate, like, again, the example I keep going, like you the head bagger at the grocery store.
No, what did you say? You're the top grader.
You're the head
The,
cheese grater at
they're the head cheese grader.
you're the head cheese grater. Yeah, here it is. I swear I did more total work and came in later. Sorry. Yep.
He said that's funny. Chris said, I swear I did more work and I even came in later.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
And that
Chris, I know that you are, buddy.
and that's what and that, it is one of those things where you the head, like if you're the head cheese grater and you having all these machinations on power and stuff, like you need to figure out how to get out of the head cheese grater role and maybe move up
Yeah,
to
that part.
front of the house or something like that, and then you could start climbing the ladder. But you on the bottom rung trying to play power games, all you're doing is alienating the people that could help you ascend.
Yeah. Like I say, man, why shit? Why shit on your own company? Like
Right.
that's crazy. That's just me though. Okay, so let's go to the next one because this one, make others come to you.
Oh, fuck
If
that.
you want to see things kill success faster than anything else, you do these two things. Number one, let somebody else do the work for you.
Yeah.
And number two, make other people come to you.
Make yourself chief problem solver.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a nightmare on. You're gonna have a nightmare
Uh,
for days.
and here's the other thing, making people come to you. So the pro is establishes dominance and leverage. Okay, but the
Mhm.
con is that it can stall momentum if misused. It can stall momentum if misused, making other people come to you as opposed to you going to them.
Yeah.
This is, I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, I swear to fucking God, if you want to know what kills success faster than anything else, it's you making people come to you.
Making the whole team depend on
Making
you.
the whole everybody not only depend on you, but come to you for everything.
Oh my god, that is the worst.
That like in general, and there's so many different ways that you can take that in general, making people come to you to fix their problems. Like again, if that's your business, then perfect. Yes, please come to me. Let me do my job. But if you have a business, you do not want everybody coming to you, especially if you have employees that you pay to do a particular job.
Yeah.
With my people, I would tell them all the time, whatever you come up with, you are more than welcome. Please run it past me, but just run and do it. Or whatever. And the reason why I say please run it past me first is just to make sure that we're not breaking any laws. We're not doing something that hasn't already been done before. So
Mhm.
you're just like, I don't want you running around like a gerbil on a hamster wheel type thing or whatever. But I want to make sure that you're going to be successful when you jump off that cliff,
Well,
right?
and if you're in that seat, like I used to tell my staff, if you can explain what your thought process is, I may not agree with the decision you made, but as long as I can see that there's a thought process happening, I'm pretty good with what you do. as long as it doesn't, as long as it's not stupid. Like if there's a thought process, like if you have a way that you thought this out. Now, if you're just doing things, that's a problem. This making people come to you stuff is a fast way to breed dependency in your staff. And I've the story I give, and it's the one that sticks in my mind. One of my programs, we got a leak in the roof. We had a leak in the roof.
Mm-hmm.
I'm off. Like this, my weekend. It's my weekend off. I was on call. I was off. There's a leak in the roof. Like 7 a.m. My phone is ringing. Hey, Brian, there's a leak in the roof. Okay. What do you want me to do about it? And I had to step back, and I kind of walked her through the process. If I was not here, if there was no option for you to reach me or engage me, or no supervisor was around or available for you to call them, how would you address the leak in the roof?
Right.
Well, I would call maintenance. Okay, so why are you calling me? Call maintenance. And then,
especially if there's nothing I can do right now.
Yeah,
right.
Call maintenance and shoot me a text that you call maintenance because there was a leak in the roof. You don't need to run that by me, because my presence or my knowledge doesn't stop the leak in the roof. The only thing that stops the leak in the roof is getting maintenance to go fix the tile or the shingle that came up.
Gotcha.
But you calling me, all that does is add more friction to what we're doing, because I got to come in anyway, and now I have to worry about leaking the roof, and it's not my competence, it's not my area to fix. And this idea that always get people to come to you, if you're a leader, if you want to be a leader of people, this is the most damaging thing that you could possibly do to yourself. This is a way to hamstring yourself. This is a way to get your staff to shut their brains off, and every problem they just throw at your feet. And now, instead of doing your job, you're doing all of their jobs, because they don't feel empowered to make decisions on their own. I don't think there's any pro to the. I don't think that there's in a leadership position. And we're talking about the 48 laws of power, and we're talking about the context of where this applies, which would apply in a leadership position, moving up the ladder, right? I don't see a necessary pro to making people always come to you. Even if you're managing up, you don't want the people above you constantly coming to you with their BS. Right. If they can solve it, because all that's going to do is weigh you down, and you're not going to be, if they can handle it, but they just dump it on you, you end up becoming the person that that solves everybody else's problem. You never get recognized for that.
Okay.
If you have kids, hell, if you have children, you know what I'm saying? If you have children, this is not a management way. You want them to come to you with stuff that you can actually help them with or provide guidance. If they can figure it out on their own without burning the house down or killing a small animal, let them have it.
Yeah, I don't
see a benefit in law. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, and actually, no, that's I 100% agree. But I'm also looking at that from a personal, individual standpoint as well, which is making other people come to you. This is also one of the reasons why so many people fail, I think, in life, in their dreams or goals or aspirations, their to-do list for the most part, is because we're always expecting somebody else to come. We're always expecting, well, this is only going to work if you show up and help me, or this is only going to show up if you come to me to come help me, as opposed to put your hand up and say, hey, I need a little bit of help. Right. I just got an email from my son's teacher giving me all of this stuff for his math. And it's like, yeah, this is kind of what you got to do. But here's the problem. Problem is that my learning style is that I'm visual, number one. Number two, I'm visual, auditory, which means I have to hear it. And number three, kinesthetic, which means I have to do it.
Yep.
And then the fourth thing for me is that I have to teach it back to you. Now, once those gaps are filled, I'm good to go. you're only sending me information through one of my senses through my learning style. So that means that there's one, two, three other styles that I have that I cannot help. So I can't help my kid because you only gave me one.
Right.
Again, I know what my learning style is, right? And here's the other thing is that videos are one thing, but I have to be able to ask questions as we're going through this. So again, I need those gaps filled in. If you just send me the PDF of everything that needs to be done and explain an explanation, that's only one of my modalities. I need 3 to 4 more in order for me to understand. And once I understand, then I can help him understand.
Right.
Right now, I can't help him understand. So now I'm going to have to let her know, hey, thank you for this, but there's not much I can do about this because I don't know your material. You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm putting my hand up and I'm not making her come to me. I'm willing to go to you because I have a problem.
Right.
And this issue isn't just about me, it's about my kid. How can I help my son if I don't understand it myself?
Right.
And if he's in your facility for 7 hours, again, I'm on that. If he's with you for 7 hours, how can you help him?
Right.
He's there for 7 hours.
Give me the supplementary work I can do on the back end to augment what you're doing there.
Yeah, I can kind of walk him through some of this stuff, whatever. But dude, I'm just now going back to school next week after a 25-year hiatus. 25-year hiatus.
Yeah.
Man, I am so useless right now with math that my guidance success counselor at the college, because I have to take statistics. She said, first off, I've had more people fail this class than any other one. She said, I want you to get used to being in school first, and then we'll take this class later, like towards the end. I'm like, perfect. I know my style. I need you to show me everything first. And then from there, then we'll break everything down piece by piece and I'll be able to do it. But I'll only be able to do it once I can teach it to other people. Once I could teach it, I got it, no problem. You know what I'm saying? Once I could teach it, I got it, no problem. But if you're just showing it to me, that's only one of it. So again, sorry about that long soapbox, but I wanted you guys to understand that with that, there's more than just being the leader of an industry. It's also being a leader of yourself when it comes to this. You know what I'm saying? So I think that there's more than just making people come to you. Because don't nobody have to come to you. Who the fuck are you that I need to come to you?
Right. Oh, and here's the thing.
You know,
one of the best math teachers I've ever had, I'm just throwing this out there. Mr. Baltimore. He was at Metro years and years and years and years ago. And I ended up taking the class, but UNO didn't accept the math credit, and it was Bellevue didn't accept the math credit. It created a whole nightmare of events that happened. But I'm saying all that to say this.
I'm sure it did.
I'm saying all that to say this. One of the best math teachers I've ever had. He made it very, 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 very easy to understand. And so if you ever get a chance, look him up. I think it's Adriel Baltimore. If you ever need help with
what's his first name?
I'll send it to you in the chat.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
But yeah, he was one of the best math teachers I've ever had. Made it, and I'm not like I was taking it with friends. I was the one that knew math like that. They didn't necessarily really get math like that, but he was also really, really good at breaking it down and making it easy to understand. So, Mr. Baltimore, if you're watching, shout out. But you were
shout out. I'm gonna have to hit you up, sir.
Okay,
so go ahead.
Ready to? You want to go to the next one?
Yeah, let's move to the next one. So number 9 is win at all costs. Excuse me. Win through actions, not through argument.
Yeah.
Win through action, not by argument. So the pro for this is results silence critics, which I 100% agree with.
Hmm.
The con is that it avoids healthy dialogue.
Yeah.
So win through actions, not through argument. Sometimes the thing that I love about philosophy is that it's an argumentative type of type of discourse that makes you dig deep,
Yeah.
right? It's an argumentative discourse that makes you dig deep,
Right.
that makes you really have to stand on your shit, right? Now, religion, on the other hand, is not really something I need to kind of stand on or whatever because it's really a thing of belief, not
Right.
a thing of fact, it's just a thing of belief. And and I think that with philosophy, for me, it's kind of almost the same thing too. Or whatever it is to think about belief system. What do you believe in, and how is this going to work practically at this present moment in time?
Right.
Right. So again, you need that dialogue. The reason why we have, I think that we should have way more um, Democrats, Republicans, independents. I think that we need 3 or 4 more political groups because that duality of one versus the other creates all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
And it's been proven that a two party system has never been a good idea. Never. Never. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious. Hell, it. I even respect the fact that there's not just Bloods and Crips. There's Bloods, Crips. There's Vice Lords. There's GDs. There's other gangs or whatever. There's other stuff that you can get into. You ain't just got to be a
Yeah.
Blood or a Crip. They might be the biggest, the one that everybody knows about, like Democrats and Republicans. But if you have more than one particular party, I think that it kind of helps
Someone is at front door.
spread the bullshit.
Uh, I think
And
it
what we
does,
have,
and I think there's a balance where it's the show don't tell kind of stuff. That's what you normally
yes,
do when you're a writer. When you write, that's kind of the thing. Or not even writer when you do video and like narrative film and stuff. It's show don't tell, like where you're telling a story through your movie, through your art. You want to show people instead of telling them all this shit, right?
I'll be
But
right back.
okay, but the idea that again this enigmatic I am Batman kind of stuff. That only works up to a degree, and people don't trust it. Um, went through actions like I don't necessarily have a huge issue with this one precisely, um, except sometimes you do need to explain how and why you reached the way in end point that you did. It's kind of showing your work, right? And so I don't have a huge issue with this one. I don't think it's too damaging. Um, I don't think that there's a necessarily a benefit that to have this back and forth for back and forth high energy argument with somebody where you can just show them that you're right. So I get it, it can short out healthy dialogue if this is the only way you ever do things. Um, but I am a believer as I can show you better than I can tell you. That's just me. That is um that's me. Um let's go ahead and jump to law 10 because I feel like we've been going on for a while. We may have to make this a multiple episode because we're at almost 2 hours again. Um, law 10: avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Pro is emotional environments matter. The con is it lacks compassion for growth. Okay, I'm of two minds with this one. Um, I know people that will do that, avoid the unhappy and unlucky in their own friendships and own interpersonal like marriages and relationships with their kids. Like if the person that they're in a long-term relationship with is unhappy, instantly they're avoiding them in-house. um and sometimes it's giving somebody space, other times it's just you don't want to be bothered with, you don't want to be there to help navigate them through the harder things in their life. And so there's a balance. Again, you can damage your relationships doing this. Now there are people that are constantly in that um unhappy, unlucky, woe is me stuff, and that ends up becoming a narrative story for them, that ends up becoming their story. And at some point, um, you getting into their orbit, all they're going to do is draw your happiness and drain your happiness out of you. So there's a double-edged sword. This one is you do it with moderation. And I think one of the big things is, y'all, is understanding the difference between friends and associates. um, you know, you can give somebody a pep talk and boost them up, and that's nothing major. But if you're constantly having to be this person's emotional uh outlet or safety valve, um you are in a unsustainable way with them, you're in an unsustainable relationship with them. If you're constantly, if that's all you ever do is you're playing nursemaid to their feelings, that's not necessarily a beneficial kind of relationship. You end up becoming, it ends up one of those weird codependent relationships where all you do is you're basically their personal therapist. And that's not a position you want to be in. But if you have people that you value or you care about, avoiding them because they're in a bad mood or they're having a rough go is a fast way to alienate them. So you got to take this one with a grain of salt. Um, and again, it's highly, highly, highly contextual. I think again we have to draw the line between friends and associates and people that and just people that we know. Um, and so
Sorry about that. I'm coming back in or
yeah, we're
whatever.
on number
Yeah, I didn't want the pirate. What are they called? The pirate people stealing
yeah
my shit.
we're on the number 10. And for me it's a contextual thing to avoid the unhappy and unlucky. It really depends on what your relationship is with this person. If this is your child, that is not necessarily a good environment that you're raising them in. But at the same time, if you're always their emotional outlet valve and they never have any means to self-regulate or solve their own problems, you're giving them a crutch. Um, so I get what they're saying. I think in the context of the book, it was something a little, the context in the book was a little bit different, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Uh, which for which one?
Number 10,
In the
avoid the
book, yeah.
unlucky and unhappy.
I mean, basically, it's more like energy and stuff. But yeah, it's it's. I mean, if you know that a duke or an earl has been getting his ass whooped on for however long, yeah, you want to try to avoid that dude as much as you possibly can,
Yeah.
or whatever. So, like, yeah, no, it is what it says.
And
Um,
if
go
they're
ahead.
dragging you down, that's something different. Like if they're constantly dragging you down, that's something different. But then again, if it's your child, like if it's your teenage child or something and they need that emotional support, then you can't just say, "Oh, you're always miserable, so I don't want to be around you." I've seen
Oh,
parents do
God.
that. I've seen
Yeah,
parents do that to kids, and that's not.
that's crazy. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that. Well, maybe I have. I don't know. I mean, maybe if they get older or something, but as being children, like if my kid was walking around and he just kind of like, damn, like you want to try to do whatever you can to uplift him and to let him know, like, yeah, there's gonna be times like this where, man, everything's gonna fucking suck, dude.
Yeah.
Everything. And this is how we deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that does happen, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, but that is yeah,
There are ways to balance it. Like I know there are
for
times
sure.
with my daughter, like I want to jump in and help navigate through it. The best thing I can do is be quiet and let her sort through her own feelings. And as a parent, you get the feeling for that. But if you're talking about random coworker that sits at the desk from you, then we're talking about a different context or a different frame of,
Yeah,
of
for
the
sure.
conversation. Um, But yeah, I'm on the fence with this one.
Yeah.
Number
No,
11. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
but number 11, no, yeah. Go ahead.
That feels like a duplication.
So here's the thing. I think that so I think that a lot of these, and we can actually kind of see how they would kind of pop up like that. I think that next week what I like to do is I'm gonna use ChatGPT, and I think we're going to compile these into 12 things because I think that a lot of them kind of overlap each other. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I
A
gotta
lot
grab
of
my
these,
copy too.
yeah, I think that a lot of these kind of overlap each other because one can go inside of the other, but it's the nuances of it. I think that basically make it the 48,
Yeah,
if you will. It's the nuances of it.
I think there's some padding that went on. I'll be honest with you. I think there's some padding. 48 is an even number. It sounds like a powerful number.
So it's 12
Yeah,
that um Jordan Peterson came out with his first book, or technically no, that wasn't his first book. I think that was his third book, which was actually pretty good. I like that one. I didn't read anything else that he wrote because he's just it's kind of all in. Not really my thing.
he's kind of a head case at this point. Like I'll say it. He's kind of his public persona. He's an intelligent guy, but there's a lot of head case kind of shit that's going on with him. I've seen it, his public thing, like some of his public crash outs. It's
Yeah, I mean, and again, I don't. There's certain stuff with him that I totally understand, and there's certain things I'm just kind of like, eh. I mean, not just that though, but I think that if you align yourself
mhm.
with certain people, I think that there's certain things that are just gonna kind of rise up, and I personally don't want to be a part of that. I mean, you can do whatever you want
Yeah.
to do, but me personally, I'm gonna go ahead and back out on that one.
You can be an expert in one domain and absolutely be an imbecile in another domain. And
And
I don't
and
think people understand
that's
that.
right. That's what is that isn't that the Peter principle?
No, the Peter
Oh,
principle is you get elevated to your level of incompetence.
okay. So
But it's a cognitive thing too. Like I gotta find it. You
right, but
know,
well, I mean, again, though, I mean, but what can't that still go
yeah, that could
into
fit.
that book? Because I think that can fuck. I think that can fit that because they're pulling you into something that you ain't got shit to do with. So they're thinking that you are because you're good in this area over here, you're gonna be amazing over here too. And that's not the case.
Yeah, you can
You're
be
just great over there.
yeah, you can be a fantastic doctor and be a terrible lawyer. Or you could be great at both. Or you can be good at both. It just depends on what you know and what your scope of knowledge is.
Yeah.
It's the same tool, same set of skills, just applied differently. And so
And I think that I think that with Jordan Peterson, because he's a philosopher as well. And again, as well as well as a I think it's psychiatrist,
he's a psychologist.
psychologist as well. Um, I think that those two things. I I think depending on who you are and the biases that you already have going into it, cultural, individual, systems, stuff like that, or whatever. I think that you're going to probably use. I don't know because again, I know other people that are therapists, or excuse me, psychologists that are also philosophers as well that don't necessarily think the way that he does
Yeah.
or whatever. But shit, I could be wrong. Maybe they do too. They
Well,
just don't say it out loud.
I had a teacher who was an art history major and a philosophy major. Like he had a double major. And the thing he told me a long time ago, and you'll understand what I'm saying with this. He said this to our class, because it was like some kind of American standards class or whatever, where we
Mhm.
talked about politics and social things. And he basically looked at it, he's like, I need you guys to understand if I get rambling, he's like, too much psychology can make, or too much social, No, too much philosophy can make you dumb.
Yep.
A-
Yes.
And
Yes. 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 Yep.
and so
I
and
tell
that's
people
how
all
he
the
put it.
time. I tell people constantly, I'm the one of the smartest, dumbest people you will ever meet. But I
And
say that, yes, I constantly.
and that's
Yeah.
kind of what it is. I think with him, um, he swam out of his moat of competence
Yeah.
and dove into media analysis, and media analysis is not his bag. Um,
Yeah.
he's not necessarily positioned to do that. Kind of like when we start talking about Dr. Umar. Like Dr. Umar is a like he went through the entire battery of tests. He has an entire thesis. We can weigh the pros and cons of his dissertation and thesis and all that stuff. Um, we can weigh those individually, but he did go through the process. Um, I think he was licensed at some point um, as a child psychologist. And so you can't take that away from him. Where he
Mhm.
falls down is where he starts talking about um, anthropology and Black history and other things that are a little bit outside. He has a familiarity with, but are outside of his scope of knowledge,
Mm.
scope of practice. And so he's qualified to talk about a lot of things, but some of the stuff he talks about, he's not qualified to talk about, if that makes sense.
Mhm. I
You
get it.
know? And so,
Yeah.
so
I
next
mean,
week,
I think that again, the Peter principle would again go with him as well.
yeah.
But I mean, some stuff absolutely great, other parts, not so much.
Yeah. And so I think next week I want to continue on the 48 laws of power.
I
This
kind
is
of
a
do
good
too.
I think this is a
I
good
kind
theme.
of do too.
I think this is a good theme, especially
Yeah.
heading into 2026. I do think that we need to, if we're going to, if you're a parent and you have a young man, and I'm gonna say young man because it's men, it's typically guys handing little boys this book, right? Like it's typically a guy thing. I think what we want to do is be able to put a little bit of pause in the way that you frame the use of this book. Because if you allow a child to sit here and utilize this book without any context around it, you're going to turn them into a sociopath.
Yeah, right.
And so I like this as a theme, and I want to continue on with this. And so right now we are at, we'll kind of put a bookmark at Fearless, if you can write this down.
Yep. I'll just leave it in.
Yeah.
And then when we go back through, I will I'll work on this. Hold on 1 second. 48.
Because we're on
Well,
all 12.
okay, so number 12. Okay, so we have pro, con, we'll go business, and then we'll go personal life, and like how these things kind of correlate together or whatever. Because and then that'll kind of give us a guide on kind of where to go.
Yep.
From that, you know what I mean? Because we did great with the pros and the cons, but I also like to talk about like how does this deal in what he's talking about versus realistically from a personal standpoint.
Right.
Hold on, greens. Hold on. So we'll go greens take, and then we'll go the reality of this from business and professional.
Okay.
I mean personal. All right, so each one will probably talk about 4 or 5 different things or whatever, and then we'll just move on to the next one.
That works for me.
Or whatever, you see what I'm saying? So then everything that we do will be like right in tune with everything else.
Right.
Whatever. So yeah.
And if you guys want to jump in and tell us how we
Yeah,
how
sure.
we're wrong about it, that's fine too. But again, I think it just comes from I think we're missing nuance with it. And that's really the position we're taking. If you disagree, hop in the comments, let us know.
Yeah, please do. I was kind of hoping for Liberty Switcher to come on here, but hold on 1 second, let me see. Yeah, but being that we're not talking about race or anything like that,
I don't know.
I don't think that they'll come on or whatever. So we might have to get political next time and Liberty Twitcher will show up and hey, hold on, did you know about this?
What?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Liberty Twitcher, I'm just messing with you, man. Come on through, come mess with us.
So that's what we got. I think my QR code has been kind of up there by default. I just happened to look up and see it. That's my stand store. That's where I have all my tools. My mission this year is to teach people how to record themselves and get you guys started recording yourself. Like that's what I'm planting my flag in the ground. I want you guys to remove all the barriers and actually get out there and get to the doing instead of the thinking. And so,
Perfect. Can I ask you? May I ask you a question?
yeah,
Okay, so you know what? How many people? How many people would you like to work with this year?
I
You know
got,
what? Forget this year.
yeah.
We're 6 days into January. So how many people would you like to work with this month?
This month,
What's our
I'm-
objective?
I want to get 15. But I also have some stuff I need to talk to you about off air about because I'm on a pathway to doing that.
Okay.
But yeah, I want to get 15 people. And basically, I mean, I have a free group where I can kind of give you quick overviews and stuff like that. But my paid group is where I give you hands-on support and really kind of encourage you and, talk about some technical stuff and things along those lines. So you'll see my school community up there. But I also got other tools to teach you guys how to do some copywriting, teach you guys, give you some stuff you can drop into your AI so you can get better results and stuff. But really, my entire my call this year is I want to teach you guys how to start recording yourself because there's so many opportunities out here that people are missing on social media, and social
Got
media is giving you basically they're promoting your content for free. And people are missing out on this. So that's what I got. If you're interested, go ahead and scan the QR code. Go to my stand store. If you want to schedule a time, I have some slots available. So, but yeah, that's what I got. Fearless, do you have anything?
No, nope. This time I do not.
All right, 2 hours and 11 minutes in, and we're going to be finishing. We're going to be continuing down the primrose path of the 48 laws of power next week. So we hope to see you next week. We'll talk to you later. This has been Trial and Error. Peace.
Peace.